I'm stupid. I know that, but somehow, sometimes I manage to even surprise myself in stupidity. So what happened? A few weeks ago, I had the Behringer X reamp important on the table, reviewed it for the purpose of seeing if it's a like bang for the buck. Is it a solution 2026 where you can save a little bit of money and still have a good device? And I ended up in saying it was better Bucharest. Went on with my life, and later on, and a week later or so, I had a comment under the video saying this.
Of course it sounds bad if you're using it on a headphones mode. You're hating on the speaker simulation. Try using the amp in effects mode, A mode. Also at 5 minutes, you still had the speaker sim on.
I was like, that can't be true. I didn't make mistakes. I never drew mistakes. And I was like, okay, let's test this out. Let's see what he means. And as soon as I saw what he meant, I was like, hell, I'm stupid. The commenter said there is different output modes, whereas I was just amp bypassing the amp. Okay, let's figure out what that means. We have the amp bypass, which I thought was if you put the amp on bypass, you're bypassing the preamp section, which you don't. Instead, if you go to the configure mode, this is the mode we were in the last time. We were bypassing the amp, which means we have no amp in the signal chain, as you can see in this graph. If you want to bypass the preamp, you have to go to the configuring mode and go to the FX only mode. And now you bypass the preamp. Now you would go to the ref generator 740 into my Capture X, because I didn't plug in the CAF here because neighbors. Now the sound sounds something like this. Still not great, still not good, still not awesome, but usable, okay? Completely usable. Whereas if I go to the A1 mode and P mode, sorry. Hello? Yes. And use the phone's output mode, it sounds like this. Can you hear the slight differences, how the processing works? Can you hear the difference? My big question now is, was I really that stupid? Because I find that a little bit misleading. I'm going to show you why. This amp bypass makes no sense at all, to me at least. Because if I have to dial in through the configuration mode, in which mode I am or how the preamp works, why is that even there? Because it makes no sense to have amp bypass when you have to select the configuration on another page. Why would I take out a amp when the amp is not really needed? You could just leave that out. Yes, I would need an amp in the amp and effects section and in the phone section, but why would I then amp bypass the amp when I definitely need them? So this function here, at least to me, from a user perspective, makes no sense at all. Maybe it makes sense from a technician perspective, but I didn't come up with a situation that I would need the amp bypass on one of the modes if I would need them on or off in the same section. You know what I mean? So if you find a solution, or if you find a way why that is, can you explain to me? For me, it's highly misleading, and maybe also the source why I did that mistake in the last video. So we heard that it makes a difference, but I want to give you a few more sounds to see if the processing of the device is really that bad as I said last time, or if it's better than I expected. Let's see. Now we go to FX modus. We put that off. We put on a little bit of modulation. Let's see what have we here. Rotary. No, we want a chorus. We want an 80s sound, like Bon Jovi or Motley Crue or stuff like that. All that old school bullshit. you hear it's subtle enough. It's good enough to do a jam session, to do a cover gig with it. Let's check if the preamp modes are actually okay when we put on the preamp. Go to the FX, return. Yeah, you could do that, but I maybe wouldn't. I just would use it with the effects only. I still find it a little bit misleading. And thanks for watching. Thanks for the commenter to give me that hint. It's better than you thought. Than I thought. In $50, you can take it as a recording tool or even as a multi-effect section for your live situation, for a cover gig or something like that. That might work. You can have fun with that, and that's the most important thing, having fun playing sounds, practicing and getting better on guitar. That's the mission that we have here, to get better on guitar without spending too much money. Therefore, I have some great videos for you that I prepared with a lot of love and a lot of enthusiasm. If you want to watch them, here is the next video up there. You can subscribe to the channel, and with that, I'll catch you in the next hangout.